Yeah, good.
Okay.
Can you evaluate the offensive line play against Miami? Specifically, Jake got his first start against it. How did he do in that capacity?
Yeah, that was Rizy's first time really getting some action and put him into a real situation. I thought Miami's front was really good, knows how to pressure, knows how to push the pocket. But I think he showed that he can function and belongs and can do it at this level. So I was proud to see him go out there and compete, and showcase what he can do. I think he's intelligent. He knows how to do it. He's gotten better. He's been in the young guy scrimmages, kind of fighting for his way to get that opportunity. So it was good to see him get an opportunity. I thought it was good having Rob available to do what he can do and help out. I mean, he's been steady at it. To see him kind of bounce back and go out there and compete to a level of gives us a chance to win. I thought that was really good too. I thought overall too much, like not only sacks but just pressure situations where you got the quarterbacks get off his spot. We got to do better with, especially our younger quarterbacks, and giving them time to kind of see it and purvey it, and giving them a little bit extra time to make sure that they see it as they're progressing. And I thought in that aspect, and I didn't like some of the communication mishaps that we had, whether it be not having two pullers, not having this whether it be noise, communication, or what it was. I thought it was too many of those, and taking accountability in that aspect of it. But I thought, we got to be, this is not talking about that game. We got to be better overall in all aspects as we're moving forward.
Liam here in the second row.
Yeah, Alex, you mentioned the communication issues. Mike talked about it as well. When you have so many different starters every week, 7, I think, different offensive line starters, and changes at quarterback, is it difficult to build that rhythm and that feel with those guys, and how do you kind of adapt to it in game and going forward these next 4 games?
Yeah, I was fortunate, it's not planned, and it's nothing I really wanted to do or came into and saying I was gonna, whether it be changing the personnel of performance or injuries and things of that nature. Same thing at quarterback where, you have a lot of reps built into it, and the success we've had in the past came from having consistent, healthy, the same people out there, of course, but you got to be able to adapt and improvise, and we got to make sure that the plan we're giving them can be executed. So I take ownership if there is communication problems or mishaps. That means that I put too much on them. I got to make sure that it can be something as simple as I can. Now we're trying to do that to put them in the best possible position to make them not do something that they're capable of doing. So sometimes you have to have those to make sure we're not running into bad looks. But if it's happened too many times, that means I gave them too much. So I got to do a good job of moving forward and making sure the plan fits where we don't have that. That's my responsibility.
Jordan?
Coach, a lot of the position groups on offense have gotten younger, specifically the receivers, but the offensive line, the starting offensive line, has gotten older. Is that a reflection of some of the young guys not being developed? You're not happy with their development, or is it just the offensive line, you need older guys out there because there's just so much going on?
No, there's a balance. I mean, like I brought up Rob Scott earlier. Rob Scott was a guy that, when I first got here, he had to play because he was a young guy and he was a better one in the room. And it affected his career heavily because I think, his body has taken a toll of not having true off-season, having to have surgery in the off-season, because playing that position is a physical position. So if you throw a young guy out there when he's not ready, you usually see a high injury rate, especially for body development and things like that. And so he's an example of, not saying you're not believing in the younger guys. You also don't want to jeopardize their career and their future with injuries because of panic and self-preservation. So I made a vow after Rob that I was gonna make sure I do right by those young guys and make sure their bodies are ready to withstand the game before I put them in harm's way. And I think, with Otto, he's shown the case of ability he can do that because of his body. Rizy's he's an older guy, but still coming to this level and being able to kind of perform in those series in that situation and making sure that they're able to do that. And then I put Lucas in at the end of the game to kind of see, all right, is he ready? Because Lucas has an elbow brace on, because of his something he suffered from. So making sure that, those guys' body are ready to withstand the punishment of the game is important. And it's hard to do that when you got a guy that's been through 1 off season. It's probably going against somebody that's been through 4 off seasons just off natural strength. So, I mean, it does create opportunity. I'm not going to hold anybody back. If you're ready to go and I think your body can go, I'm going to put you out there because I want to put our best chance we got to win, and I'm going to put the guys out there. But I think as we're moving forward, because those guys are still doing the young guy lift in the morning, they're still growing stronger, they're still putting it in, like Jalen Early, who was a 2-year guy, getting a lot of action. He's hitting that redshirt sophomore when their body types are able to handle it, and he's been out there doing well for us. So he's going to continue to grow as his rep count goes up. So that's more the progression that I want to see, really that redshirt sophomore year. Now, if you're just better, we'll put you out there. I mean, but I still got to be mindful of the past when I've seen guys get thrown out there and what that done for their careers later on.
there were times in that game where you look out and there's, freshman quarterback, a bunch of freshman skill guys. Is it difficult to give those guys these opportunities to see if they can do something for you guys, improve themselves, versus trading maybe the problems you have for different problems, just having so many young guys out there?
Yeah, we don't, it's like trading problem. I mean, they've earned the right to be out there. It's not just, oh, you messed up, put the next guy in. No, man, through practices, through those Sunday night practices, they've earned the right for those reps. And of course, there's always going to be learning and improvement, but they've earned the right to be out there, not as well. And then if you do have problems with older guys, that's going to create competition, and they're going to compete in practice, and they've earned those reps that they've gotten. But they're going to learn and grow experiences. I mean, that's going to be a part of their progression. But yeah, you're going to have, you put a young guy out there, every coach knows what's going to happen when you put a young guy out there. It's going to be sometimes a little bit different in practice because it's a different environment, different emotional state. And the only way you can get through that is to play them. So I think them guys going out there and starting to get those tastes and things like that, because one thing our players know is we're doing everything for the betterment of their development in the future. It's not just immediate reaction. It's more of like, hey man, when you're ready to go out there, because I've seen confidence get killed and things like that too. You put a guy out there too young, but I think those young receivers, man, they've done a good job of earning the reps that they're getting. They're excited to showcase their ability.
Chris?
With regards to Andre, what is he good at in the sense of playing center? Because obviously there's a great deal of duties there, and how is he as a snapper?
Yeah, he's played quite a bit of center. I would say, transitioning to it, Andre is one of those guys that he's a smart, highly intelligent kid. So he's played pretty much all the positions at the O-line. He was one that we can cross-train pretty quickly. He came in on Sunday night and did a lot of the center reps. Of course, he got to be more consistent when he's snapping and pulling, or usually like either snapper going left or right. There's always a little bit of adjustment for those young centers when they go out there. But I trust Otto at the position. Rizy also plays the center position. And so Otto, Rizy, and Mo have all been repping that position. And then, of course, Richie Leonard was repping it as well. So they all, that's their center position. So, it could be Rizy going to center. It could be Otto coming in at guard. I trust those guys snapping the football and playing when they're out there.
What did you like, and what does Rizy have to work on? I mean, getting that many live game opportunities, especially against a good defensive front. Like, what did you learn about him, and where can he go?
Well, he got to let it loose, because a couple of times he understepped himself and trying to make sure of something before it happens, and he realized, like, the game is fast now. The guys are going to be reacting pretty quickly. So, on the first play of the game, we were running the screen, and, he's going to block back on the nose, and he kind of short-stepped it on the first. I'm like, man, let that thing loose and go cover him up. And I think he saw that. So as the game progressed, I saw his confidence grow, his movements grow, and he started to play better toward the end of the game. So I was proud to see that progression, and I'm excited to see how it kind of goes forward. But when you're out there, you got to let it loose. You can't overthink yourself. You got to go play free, and you have to be the dictator and not always reacting, because if you're reacting to the situation, you're a step late. Players are good enough to get on you pretty quick. So I think him just having more confidence in himself as the game grows is going to help him as he's going forward.
Jordan?
Coach Norvell mentioned it earlier, but slow starts have been a problem for the offense all year long. Just what do you think is the reason for that, and just these next 4 games, how much of a focus is it to get off to a faster start?
Yeah, I guess slow starting quiet. We need a lot of things to kind of trigger a little bit faster on offense around here, but I think it's a combination of multiple things. Whenever you're down at this depth low on offense, it's not just one particular thing or one particular change. There's a multitude of things that you kind of got to chip away at it to make sure there's some improvement, but there's also a personal accountability to making sure whatever we're asking to be improved is being highly focused and prioritized by the players that are being asked to do it. And that's why you see the kind of the rotation, talk about young receivers coming in, rotation at O-line and all that kind of good stuff, because it does provide opportunity, which can sometimes create more problems because you don't have the continuity that's building. But it's just finding something that'll give you some positivity and putting the right mindset out there that at least this guy is willing to go out there and sacrifice it all to do the job right and kind of come out on top. So I think, keep emphasizing what we emphasize. I mean, we started slow, we knew how to start fast, but we got to make sure that everything is being evaluated and make sure everybody's taking a step forward no matter what position they're in on offense.
Any other questions?
How do you guys handle, when individual guys might be having improvements, but the team is not having success? But you don't want to come across as positive probably, because the team's not doing well, but, you know, how do you guys balance that in terms of guys focusing on themselves and seeing and appreciating where they're getting better, while obviously the whole team is not where it needs to be?
That's where it starts, is the team gets better as every individual makes the commitment to improve themselves daily. So you have to be able to showcase that and put it on display, like, this is where you were, you took a step today. Did you take a step today? Coach, like, the big thing about us is we break rocks after games, and Coach asks, you know, have you been breaking rocks each day? Did you break the rock Sunday? Did you break the rock Monday? What did you do individually to kind of make sure that you had success on that day for improvement? And as that happens, that's when all that kind of comes and you get better as a team. So, I mean, I think you still have to recognize the individual improvement, even if it's minor, man. If even it's something like telling the tackler, hey, you punched too early, and he might get beat another way, but he didn't punch too early. Say, man, that's what I want you to do. Now let's go to the next thing. So I think you still have to address and showcase guys when they're taking that daily growth, but also, you know, showing how it affects the whole when you don't. And I think that's more the deal, is that if we're not taking those individual improvements daily, you get the result that you get where the team is kind of not performing as it needs to be.
Coach, following up on that, with the season like you guys are having, especially offensively, is it hard to keep guys motivated or focused? I mean, do you still see the same level of commitment in the team as you did at the beginning of fall camp?
Yeah, I don't see a change in work ethic. I think that's been consistent, but also we got to be willing to not have as many mistakes when it's actually live and then bullets are going. So it's not really giving a motivational speech or trying to inspire for, you know, just work. It's just more of your individual performance and how is it going daily. So that's why I think goes back to that question, is that's how you keep them going, is those small individual goals that keep them going and keep them wanting to improve themselves. For self, you know, I want to make sure I'm getting better. I think that motivates that individual as they see those small steps taking place. And a lot of these guys have seen that in other ways, but we got to make sure we're doing it better as a collective. Absolutely, we do.
Anything else? Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank y'all.